Hey, you guys, today I'm going to share my story about how I learned about EC a long time ago. Yeah, it's been like 14 years, and thank goodness I did. Please like this video so other people like me 14 years ago can find out about EC today. And also subscribe and hit the bell. I'll let you know when the next video comes up. Today I'm going to share with you the story about how I found out about EC. And the reason I want to share this story with you is because there are some nuggets in it that I think will be very helpful for some of you to hear, and also to understand how I came to EC all 5 of my children from birth, get all of them out of diapers by walking, and not have to potty train anybody. I avoided most poopy diapers. I only had probably a handful for each child, and I probably saved about $10,000 in diapers. So how it all began, when I was younger, I babysat when I was 11 years old. And then I kind of didn't want kids after that for a while until my 20s. So there was like a year where I wanted kids again. And then for a really long time, like 10 years, I didn't want children at all. And I was staying with a friend of a friend who became my good friend. And she put me up in her house for 1 week in a month because I was in this dance therapy program. I was becoming a dance therapist. I got my master's in psychology. And then once a month for 10 months, I went up there to Marin County in California, and I was learning expressive arts therapy, and she was in my class. And she lived in this beautiful home, and it was totally Montessori'd out. She had a 14-month-old child at the time. And I learned so much about parenting and mothering from this woman. Like, she is completely amazing. How many of you, have somebody in your life like that you can really model yourself after, almost like a little mentor, a mommy mentor? So she was definitely my mentor. And she had this 14-month-old who could speak in full sentences. And I was just floored. And I wonder if at any point she'll hear this live stream at all, or hear this on my podcast or whatever. But I just want to tell you guys how much I respect and love this woman. She's amazing. And something felt off from about the first or second month staying there for me. And this had nothing to do with the mom. This had to do with the baby. So this baby was speaking in full sentences and totally articulate, doing baby sign language. I mean, making jokes, I remember she made a train out of raisins one time on the table and told me a story about them at 15 months old. I mean, this child was brilliant. And this child was also telling her mom, "Hey, I'm poopy. I need you to change my diaper." And then they would go in and change the diaper. And her mom, bless her, did a really good job of making this feel like a normal experience and talking about it. And, "Oh, okay, we're going to change your diaper now. And this is what this is. And this is what that is." And it didn't feel right to me. What also didn't feel right to me was judging her. I absolutely, knew nothing at all about parenting, didn't even really want to have a kid, and was just like, why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. Like, on a gut instinct. You know what I mean? Have you ever felt that way before? Before you had kids, you saw a child in diapers who was walking, talking, articulate, and yet pooping in the diaper, and then their parent would clean them up maybe an hour later, and it would stay for a while until everybody would smell it and go, "Please change the child." So that's what happened. So around a couple months into staying with her every month, I don't know how this happened. It was a total God moment, the universe blessing me with like, "Hello, this is your path." And I just heard of it, this friend of a friend in California who pottied their baby in the sink and did not use diapers at all. And I was like, cool, whatever that is compared to what I'm seeing here, I'm totally doing that. Right. And I remembered back to when I was 11 years old, babysitting in Texas, and I'd babysit all the kids on the street. They were all my charges, and I babysit all of them at once for New Year's at times. And I had to change a lot of poopy diapers, and that was my least favorite part of the job. I hated. Who else does not love changing poopy diapers? If you're listening or watching this, like, I don't think anybody does. You just get used to it. Well, I was convinced that whatever this thing is that I heard about, I'm going to do that when I have a baby. And then I started to think, wow, I could actually have a baby because I really don't like changing poopy diapers. So that was one of the biggest things, is the stink, and then the infantilization of having a child who is very, very smart, wearing diapers all the time, and being like, it's a lot of time. It's time consuming to be a mom, right? And I do know that it's time consuming to be a mom because I am one. but it's not what I thought it would be. And having done EC from birth with all five of mine, it's made my parenting experience completely different. Like I don't know anything else. All right. And some of you might not know anything else either. So fast forward a couple of years. So, no. Fast forward a year. So I'm still staying with my really close friend at this point in California, and I'm staying with her. And every month I'm seeing her child a month later, growing, becoming more articulate, just really bonding with this wonderful, beautiful family and this amazing mom. And she still wasn't interested in potty training. So I told her about my friend of a friend who was doing EC, and I didn't know what it was called. And I said, "Hey, have you heard of this?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I heard of it. Not going to do it. I'm fine with what we're doing." And I was like, "Oh, but it doesn't seem that hard. Like, don't you think that your child would like that?" And she's like, "Nope, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing." And she really shut me down. And I don't know if you've had that experience before, but it hurt my feelings. And I definitely felt like, okay, I'm so sorry. I overstepped. This is none of my business. But in that moment, I vowed that if I ever had a kid, which now I was convinced I could, I would never, ever, ever put my child through the suffering that this mom unknowingly put her child through. Again, she's an amazing mom and she never would have harmed her child, but she chose not to try something that I felt like was just the golden ticket, you know? It just made sense on so many levels. So I also watched her go through potty training. She started at 2 years old. It lasted almost a year, and it was very traumatic for both of them. They both suffered through the process. So I vowed to never let that happen if I should ever be blessed with a child. Fast forward 4 years, I was blessed with my first child. He was a total surprise. And when I became pregnant, after I got over, I never got over morning sickness. I had it with four of my five, like 24/7 food aversion. It was terrible. But as this child was growing within me, I was like, oh yeah, that thing. I need to Google it and find out what it was. So I found out it was Elimination Communication, or EC for short. I ordered all 3 books on the topic: The Diaper-Free Baby, Infant Potty Training by Lori Bouquet, who has been on my podcast before, and Ingrid Bauer's book, Diaper-Free. So I ordered all of those. I read them cover to cover. I read The Diaper-Free Baby twice, and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, huge light bulb moment. This is why my best friend did not do EC. Because when I dipped into that world and started learning about it, I was like, whoa, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know what to do. Like, this is so complicated. And I thought, wow, we're humans, we're mammals. We're born wanting to use the potty, not our diapers, and not have to, diapers are unnatural. Potty training is unnatural. Like, why is this simple thing so complicated? So I got it instantly. And I'm glad I finally got why she didn't do it, because it was baffling me. And I just decided when my child is born, I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to make it happen like you wouldn't believe. I'm going to master this thing. I'm going to systematize it. I'm going to just blow it out of the water. If you've ever done the Clifton Strengths Finder test, my number one is maximizer. So I like to take something good and make it even better. That's just who I am. So my baby came, and we kind of fumbled through the first couple of weeks of EC, mostly just had him naked on a pad and would cue along with him for pee or for poop. And then finally at 2 weeks old, I got up the guts to hold him over the potty for an actual pee. Well, before that, actually, the very first day of his birth, my partner at the time handed me a potty, and I caught the meconium in the potty. So that was a really cool start. You know what I mean, right? When you catch that first one, you're just like, whoa, I'm hooked. I'm never going to not do this. Okay, so I figured it out. And over the next 5 months, people kept asking me, why do you keep taking your baby into the bathroom during yoga, mommy yoga, like every half hour? And I said, oh, I'm pottying him. So they were like, oh, well, teach me how. So I remember teaching one of my friends, and she did it with her son and had huge success. Then I taught another one. Then I was like, okay, I'm just going to write this into a pamphlet because this is too much trouble to have to explain it every time, right? So then I turned this pamphlet into a book, because my partner lost his job and I was not going to return to work and leave this sweet little baby that I had no idea how to soothe. Like, he cried all the time and he always was on me, and I was doing EC, and that was the thing that I knew, that and breastfeeding, like we were good at that. And but everything else was like, it was a mystery. I didn't want to leave him. So I started writing my first book when he was 5 months old. And then when he was 12 months old, I launched it to 74 people that I had on my email list. Maybe some of you watching and listening today were some of my original list. I have some people who listened to that long. So anyway, I launched that book, and what I wanted to do was make it visual, and I did a video library with it. I recorded an audiobook because I went on nap walks. How many of you go on nap walks with your baby because your baby won't sleep without you, without being attached to you? So with my first Kaiva, I went on a 1.5 mile walk each direction through Berkeley every single day for nap time because I couldn't get him to sleep on his own. I was terrible at sleep. I still am, like all 5 of them. I never was good at teaching them how to sleep. But I also, like during that time, I was so good at EC, and I was getting into writing my book and everything. But going on these long nap walks was really hard to, like, I couldn't read a book anymore, and I'm an avid reader. So when I launched my book when he was 12 months old, I launched an audiobook with it, a video library, so you could see what this thing looks like from somebody who knows what they're doing, which was me, because I studied up and I made sure to be good at it. And then I made a downloads library, and I developed this hybrid plan, which was a mixture of potty training and EC. But the most important thing that I wanted people to have that I didn't have was a support forum. I don't know how many of you listening or watching today are part of my support group, but you probably have leaned on me or the coaches inside it a lot during the process. And maybe some of you have found it invaluable. That is something I didn't have. When I went to my first diaper-free baby meeting, it was terrible. There was a naked 39-month-old who wasn't finished with EC running all over the place screaming. It was chaos. Nobody was leading it. I really wanted to share about the gear I'd found and like just kind of connect with people, and nobody was with it. So I have my coach program, I have all this other stuff. Like what I wanted to do for you guys, because I found out about EC and because I had experienced a mom whom I love dearly, who was an amazing mom, not do it because it was too complicated for her. I really wanted to make it all simple for you guys. So that's how I found out about EC. That's how my book came about. Now I've helped hundreds of thousands of parents just like you guys, and some of you do have my book. Yay, thank you so much for that. And I really hope to run into you sometime, because I always get embarrassed if somebody's always staring at me or something, and it's really awkward, and they're like, I'm sorry for staring at you, but I follow you and we used your book. And like David here, who did EC for all 4 of their little ones, that makes me so elated to know that I've helped anyone. And I get really embarrassed, and sometimes I cry. And it's like, it just moves me to tears, because this changed my life. And I never had to put my babies through that suffering that I've seen in the world and that I see in the world. And it really triggers me, and it's hard for me. So my goal is to just make everything really easy for you guys. I hope that you found that already. The one action item I want you to take today is to get my easy start guide if you haven't gotten it already. Okay. GoDiaperFree.com/start. If you don't have it, get it. It's just a simple 1-page PDF, and it just goes over the basics. And that's all I want you to do today. If you already have it, I want you to take one thing from that page and just focus on that for the next 7 days. And in about 6 or 7 days, I'm going to be back on with you on live, and I want to know how it went. Okay. I'm going to hold you accountable and be your accountability partner. And I really want to make sure that people like my friend, who was so overwhelmed by the complexity of EC, or what was presented to her, so complex, that I can be the one who simplifies that for all of you. And if you have any friends who have a baby between 0 and 18 months, send them to my Easy Start Guide right now and say, hey, just check out this possibility. This woman actually makes it really easy to do this, because it matters. It really matters so much. Like Lisa's saying right here, your diaper-free book has been so helpful. We practice EC with our 3-month-old. I gifted your tiny potty book to my sister for my 2-year-old niece. Thank you. This is literally my purpose in life. There's no coincidence at all to the order of events that I just shared with you. Thank you for listening to my story. I wonder if some of you have felt the same kind of guilt judging other people who have children in diapers, but we can look at that guilt as a signal. Like, hey, I feel guilty about judging this person. Instead of criticizing or saying, why aren't you doing this? I could say, hey, I'd like to give you this book, this gift. You can do it part-time with diapers as a backup. You can do the poops only, or you can just do the morning pee. At the very least, it's an exposure technique. And I hope that this helps you connect with your baby more. And maybe you can avoid potty training. It's a lot easier. And just leave it at that and see what happens. I would love that, like Lisa did. That'd be amazing. But yay, thank you for listening to this story. That's how I found out about EC. I would love, love, love for you to comment wherever you're watching right now. Where did you find out about EC? What did you put into the search engine or into Google or into YouTube or whatever to find out about EC? If you could please leave me a comment. What I'm going to do with these comments is look at them and figure out how I can reach more people. Because sometimes I don't know how people find me. Not everybody knows elimination communication unless you've heard it, and then you're like, what is that really ridiculously long phrase that I didn't come up with, but it's like super long, right? So what did you type in to find out about it? Please leave that in the comments, and I can't wait to hear. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I look forward to our next potty lesson live, where I'll teach you something else for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15. I'm at 17 minutes because I was telling a story. That's how I am. Sorry, not sorry. And then I will also give you an action item at that time as well. And yay, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go over to all the platforms right now and read all your comments. So be sure to leave them right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit like, subscribe. You're probably already a subscriber, but definitely hit the bell so we can let you know when the new videos are up. I've got some new videos up my sleeve. And also for Instagram, if you're not following me, definitely do that. Facebook, if you don't like the page, like it, join the group. We've got a group that we've got back there now again, and that's going to be super fun. So I'm going to look at all your answers right now. I can't wait to read them. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you next week.